For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses on a gorgeous Saturday, the second of 8 Saturdays here at Saratoga, Saturday, July 24th. He is the Big A, Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling, and it couldn't be a nicer day.
Couldn't.
Especially for me. I'm sitting with you.
Me as well. I mean, we've...
You as well sitting with you?
Exactly.
Right.
You don't sit... what was the old Bronx tale on? You don't sit with me, you sit amongst me.
Amongst. Right?
All right. We had a great time at breakfast this morning. I walked into breakfast this morning, couldn't see 30 feet onto the racetrack. Fog completely covered the racetrack.
Really?
Burned off about 7:45. Had a fun one. We had well over 1,000 people at breakfast this morning.
Excellent. Great to hear.
Fantastic. Yeah. Nice day, though.
Yeah,
beautiful
great day. Good day of racing as well. Coach Club American Oaks, race number 5, the second of the official grade ones of the meet. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code SPA200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. Play through Naira Bets. Support racing in New York. Bankroll Builder continues every Saturday leading up to Travers. Bet 50 to win. You have to opt in the Coaching Club American Oaks, and you get $20 towards your bankroll on Travers Day. Obviously a heavy favorite in Malathot and today's CCA Oaks. And today is always a special day here in Saratoga and everywhere. Lustgarten Day, supporting Lustgarten, benefiting pancreatic cancer. And, of course, it's in honor of the late, great Dominic Galuccio, as popular a trainer and person as you found around the racetrack for many years, somebody that Anthony knew very well. I met when I was a kid back in the 70s when he worked for Mike Hernandez, and Dominic passed away. I think it's been 7 years now since Dominic left us, but he's gone, but his memory continues. And if you stop by really now until 12:30, and I'm going to forgive you if you stop by during Talking Horses, as long as you're listening. And stop by, make a small donation to Lustgarten, get some autographs from the trainers, and it's a great thing. It's a great way to honor Dominic's memory.
Got to know Dominic when he was training horses for the late Richie Frankel, who's a racetrack character himself. Richie passed a couple of years after Dominic, and just a great guy, charismatic, loved the game. You know, we'd be in Trinity's over at on Jericho Turnpike by Belmont, just talking the game for hours at a time. Dominic's missed around here. I'm a pretty decent dresser. I had nothing on Mr. Galuccio.
You're not that decent a dresser, but that man had a lot of style, and he was also one heck of a trainer. Finally, the America's Day at the Races show. Oh, no, it's Saratoga Live, actually. Excuse me. I finally got it right. Saratoga Live. 1 to 7 on FS2 all day, covering all the action, starting with race number 1. Post time of 1:05. The horse to beat in race number 1, and we can go right to the replay if you like, is the number 7 Royal Realm, who 2 back was able to break his maiden. Draws towards the outside. I think he was in a pretty tough field last time out. I think he's a very logical horse. I guess you have to ask yourself if you are concerned about the drop down, but maybe Jimmy Jerkins is just getting realistic, and we'll show you a stat after the replay that suggests that, for what it's worth, first time for a tag, Jimmy Jerkins has pretty strong numbers.
He is. Don't you feel like they're dropping this horse in pretty quickly? I was a little surprised at this because he had a little bit of a trip 3 starts back. Then he broke the maiden, and you mentioned
he makes his own bad trips because he's a bit of a hard horse to handle, and maybe that has something to do with the drop down.
And he lost the horses. 2 of the 3 horses he lost to last time, Dust Devil and Yankee Division, are multiple winners. So it's not like it was an easy bunch, like you said. It was a tough bunch, and now all of a sudden, and I guess the argument could be if it was a tough bunch in a field of 5 at Belmont, what's he going to run into for the next 8 weeks weeks up here.
Right, where was he going to finish in that? Where's the one we ran here on second day of the meet?
I got it.
Or opening day, whichever day.
You could always put a horse on. You could always put a horse on the bench. You could always try the horse on turf. You could do things to protect the horse a little bit. Listen,
they obviously don't mind losing him, and he racing a claim.
We saw an 18-way shake for dark money yesterday. This horse is going somewhere new today. No question about that because he has all of his allowance conditions.
You've picked primetime player.
I did. And when you win for a tag like he did, first-time tag for Ron Moquett, Joel Rosario's on the board, wins for the tag last time, you're supposed to cut in half. That's the rule of thumb. And Ron Moquett, and you win for 75, a lot of horses don't cut in half. He essentially cuts in half and drops in for the 42 life. I like the move. It's Saratoga. People want to win everywhere. People will really want to win here. This horse is priced.
He good enough?
He's priced to win. I don't know if he's good enough. He has to improve, but again, you're going to get a fair enough price, I think, to kind of find out. And I think he's shown some improvement through his starts, and I'm just hoping that he finds the right bunch.
We got 11 races today.
With his pedigree, I think he'll want the at a distance.
The number one, Geocare, is where I went in here. Second off a long layoff for Todd Pletcher. A logical drop down, a horse who missed just more than a year. He ran fast enough racing early in his career, albeit down in Florida. He didn't run badly. He was a bit wide in his last start. I thought he did enough running, and he made sense second time out. He was my alternative to Royal Realm, who is the horse to beat and will be favored in this race by post time. Race number 2. Race number 2 is the first of 2 divisions, interesting divisions of these races. The second one, I think, is race 8 later on the card. And we'll start with a replay of the horse that you and I have on top. You gave up on technical analysis yesterday, and you regretted it so much you came back to Freedom of the Press. Now, she should have been placed first last time. The winner, Lovestruck, who did come back.
First time.
Yeah, in her first start. This is her first start. The winner, Lovestruck, eliminated a horse in mid-stretch, and for whatever reason, they allowed her to stay up. She did come back and win a stake later in an Aqueduct, I believe, later. And then she ran to White Frost, who you had told me when you told me the Forzora was training, is back in training.
Yep.
She won a stake down in Florida next start, and I think she had a chance to be as good, if not better, than any 3-year-old filly on the turf. You know, when she lost, it was disappointing second time out. The second horse was a Cherie DeVaux horse who came back to win her next start as well, I think, at the fairgrounds. Correct. On the turf. I think she just ran to a very live bunch second time out. Chad Brown's numbers, did I put this stat up? I think I did. Under 80-day layoffs, turf routes with maidens. These are incredible stats, over 30% and a 254 ROI with a guy who a number of people thought training career was over. He may have reminded them yesterday that perhaps the rumors of his demise were greatly exaggerated.
Yes. And truth be told, her 2-year-old numbers make her competitive here. You assume the move forward as a sophomore young lady now. I just thought she made a lot of sense. Like you said, should have won last year, and she's just run into really, really good horses.
But she's not in a bad spot today. I mean, you've got Miss Bonnie T. I'll tell you what Miss Bonnie T's not likely to be fast enough to be in front. But I think that they've taken her speed away. I mean, why would you run her 1.25 miles last time and rate her back in 5th? This was a horse who the fact that she was able to be forward in races was really to her benefit. She'd have to be right in front, but she should at least be looking for the lead or sitting second to other horses. Why have they taken the speed away from this horse? That's what made her good.
For some reason, a lot of trainers don't agree with our mentality, meaning you and I.
Me, you, and everybody else.
Use the speed, right? They figure, well, she's getting beat all these tough beats. Going to the lead's not working. Let's see if coming from off the pace. That hasn't worked either. You have a bigger advantage around here by using the speed.
Of course.
I don't get
you have a bigger advantage
using
using your speed anyway, especially if you
that.
can rate, because the race comes to you when you use your speed. And I think that I've heard a flawed notion, or at least a notion, in my opinion, that's flawed, that speed isn't good right now in the turf. Because Raymond got.
How do we know?
I disagree with that also. I know. Logical horses are winning the races on the turf around here. Turf racing, unlike dirt racing, is not supposed to be dominated by speed. It's much more fair racing. It's different racing. It's the last 5/16ths that matter. Dirt racing is conducive to speed. Turf horses may wire because they're saying monster slope aces, or much like Rinaldi, they might be the best horse in the race. They're certainly in the argument for best horse in the race. So it's this notion that speed's not winning, and therefore speed's bad. No, maybe the speed horses just weren't good enough to win the races. Just like if 5 even money shots win 5 straight dirt races on the front end, it's not necessarily a speed track. It's a track that is getting logical results. So Enchanting, what do you do with her? We both left her out. I've just sort of seen enough. I know she was compromised last time by the lack of speed in the race. I just don't have much confidence in her. And Chad Brown has run her 3 times going short. That says to me he doesn't have the confidence she's going to be more effective going longer.
Right. Now, it's funny you say that, right? 3 times going short. Truth be told, the way Miss Bonnie T's been ridden, this filly coming out of sprints, you would think would be more forward today, but it's not really the MO of the barn. Well, it's really not the MO of the rider, but you would think that she'd be forward.
The 5 Lady Valentine and the 9 Tracy Flick are the 2 speeds. And Lady Valentine took a lot of money first time out. She would have been 3rd in there. That was the race that the Chad Brown Firster fell in mid-stretch. She doesn't have a pedigree. I guess her pedigree is good enough for turf. She's an into mischief, though. They're giving up on her awfully quickly on the dirt after that race. And listen, Tracy Flick has been a bad actor. She's not untalented, and she's run well maiden races. I find it amusing that a character that was placed first in a movie called Election has been disqualified, actually, twice.
Yeah.
I think she's dangerous as well. I thought this was a very, very interesting race. We took freedom of the press. Race number 3. Race number 3. Oh. So, Papazar. Go ahead.
Yeah, first time. I didn't have a lot to say here. I thought it was a really tough race. I thought any one of the first 5 horses could win the race. Papazar getting the trainer change. 2 make her off the claim. Mike won 3 races yesterday. Source didn't have the cleanest of breaks last time. Was widest of all in the stretch.
It's a terrible race last time.
Yeah, it was an awful race. I know that. Gets a rad, gets the trainer change. I really didn't have a strong opinion in here. Like I said, I could use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I didn't put the stat up because it never occurred to me somebody would pick Papazar. But for what it's worth, Mike Maker off the claim with Dirt Sprinters is 15 for 96, 16% with a $1.12 ROI for every $2 you bet. Al Cools and Strolling ran 1-2, and both have switched barns. Al Cools was claimed from Peter Miller for what it's worth. The source you liked last time was a very good pick. Kind of got the money last time, but did run a figure that would make him very tough in here. Claiming off of Peter Miller for what it's worth, off the claim on the dirt. 15 for 103, $1.49 ROI. With Sprinters, it's no, that was with Sprinters. Overall, it's 21 for 152, 14%, $1.61, which suggests it's not impossible to claim from him. Tough horse to take off the claim. I think that's why we left those horses out. Win with Pride is the logical horse. You know I'm Joel Rosario's biggest fan. I have no idea why he took this horse completely out of the race last time at Belmont. The barn was a lot hotter when this horse ran.
Much.
And they've cooled down quite a bit, winning only 1 race over the last about 3 weeks or so of racing by a desperate nose. I thought Cantrell Hill, second off the claim, off the win for Diodoro, and Win with Pride were the logical 2 horses, the 2 and 3. I'm going to try to beat him. You know me, when I'm searching around and don't trust horses, I can't resist a turn back, even though Mike Trombetta does not have sensational numbers with turnbacks.
Yeah, and this horse has a win at Saratoga as well. I don't know if that helps.
It doesn't help me.
Helps the cause. Yeah, I mean, certainly a player in here. Maybe the best price of the horses that look like they have chances. And yeah, listen,
I was going to use one.
Can't love anybody in here. I don't think you could really not like anybody in here. Maybe it's tough to make the Sakari, but I mean, David has this board wide open. You picked the longest shot on the board on the morning line.
I tell you what, I'll bet you a lunch. We're at 78. I really shouldn't have lost that lunch, by the way, when the first-time starter was in front of my horse. It was 50 in front of the rest of the field, but I'll let it go because I won 4 in the first one.
You're going to let it go? The horse wasn't in front.
The 7 will, the next time we make those bets, first-time starters don't count.
Then we won't make a bet.
I'll take the 7 over the 4.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, you thought the horse that won, who came from dead last, was the speed. I just want to mention that.
You didn't disagree.
I didn't think it was the speed because I didn't think the horse could possibly get the lead from the 4, and I was right. Or the 6, whatever the heck the horse's name was. Okay, 7 over 4. Race number 4. Race number 4. I think one of the keys to race number 4 is the horse that you and I have second in here, and that's the number 10, Forced. I actually, with the 86 buyer, which seems a little on the high side. And it's funny because I was talking to Andy Beyer early this morning, and he said to me he has some questions about that fig as well. There was one other turf sprint that day. The thing about Forced is he's controlling speed, isn't he?
He's the controlling speed.
Even though speed's bad on the turf.
Yeah, speed's terrible. And it's not like, okay, so this is his only turf race, the race you just saw. But he has fast faster dirt races on his card. So it's not like this isn't a horse that doesn't have some talent that has produced figures like this. Now,
Right, but he may not be able to do it in the dirt.
Correct. I don't think there's enough in here to not be using this horse.
Oh, I'm going to use him.
And then combined with the fact that he is the controlling speed, I just wanted to, take one little shot against him. But I think he's a very, very logical horse in here.
Talk about knockout punch.
Knockout punch. I did not like the ride of the trip last time.
I agree with you.
Going to get Tyler Gaffalione today, and it's simply that. He's going to be a decent enough price, I would think, to take a little shot against the favorite. I like the rider change. I'm hoping he gets a better trip under Tyler Gaffalione.
It's Wayne Potts.
And my
Your
man,
Wayne
Potts. Yeah.
Wayne Potts.
So there you go. That's it.
Wayne better start winning, or you're going to be working a night job up in Martha's.
Nova. If I get a night job at Nova.
Louis not hiring. I spoke to him yesterday.
Louis
He said he doesn't care how broke you go.
Louis is hiring,
no
actually.
chance you're getting a job there unless you're singing or something. I like Bartle. I agree with the other 5, by the way. I will definitely use that horse. I'm not against her. I think you and I saw the race somewhat similar.
Yes.
I like the 4, Bartolino. If you start taking Bartolino's race apart now, he's not likely to get the lead. And that is theoretically a bit of concern because his only win was on the front end, 60-1 in his debut, but he ran that day. Then he comes off a layoff. He comes into a very tough race, which fell apart at the end. He was part of the pace. And then last time out, 7 furlongs in a race that came apart as well.
That's not happening, right?
I thought he was more interesting at 5.5, getting good position in here. I thought he was dangerous. I'm going to use 4 10s and 5s, but I like the 4 Bartolino.
Yeah.
Race number 5. I've narrowed down the 5th.
Oh, by the way, bonus pick 5 starting in race 4. My saving grace the last couple of weeks. Bonus pick 5 starting in race 4. Go ahead.
I think Malathot looks pretty good in here. We'll take a look at Malathot in the Kentucky Oaks. We'll show you the start. And, real credit to John Velasquez as well as Malathot that after breaking a step slow, if John Velasquez and Malathot hadn't reacted here and realized we can't get shuffled out. I know she makes these big runs in these other races. It's a big field. It's a tougher field than she'd ever been in. She has to get herself into position. And in doing so early, in my opinion, they allowed her to beat search results. If Johnny hadn't done that, she wouldn't have run down search results, who came back to win the Acorn. I'm not in the camp that thinks Malathot's a superstar. In fact, I think that we make a mistake in this game by anointing horses because of their records more than their overall performances. She's obviously a terrific filly, and she is a clear leader of this division right now.
Clear leader.
Over search results. No doubt. Not denying it.
It's a pretty definitive 1, too, by the way. It's those two, and then you're kind of scrumming it for
third.
The
reality of her is, though, she ran her first Beyer figure over 90. It was a 95. She's a lightly raced horse, just her 3rd start of the year. She's every right to improve. But there's been conversations about her. This notion she should run in the Belmont like Rags to Riches did because she has the same trainer. Rags to Riches was running 108 Beyers. With all due respect to Malathot, and I think Todd Pletcher would agree, and I don't think that Todd Pletcher was the one who was pointing her to the Belmont. I think as a trainer, he was doing his job, which is some connections may have mentioned the Belmont. I don't think after the Oaks, Todd was thinking, this is my Belmont horse, and she's a good horse, and she's going to probably win today, but I want to see progression. And she may have it, and she's had it already, but she's got to, I don't want to hear these superstars that their horses running 95 Beyers at their very best.
I couldn't agree with you more. I don't understand the whole...
She's a closer. People love closers.
I would understand...
They're exciting.
I'll tell you what, I would have understood running her in the Belmont more than I would understand running her in the Run Happy Travers, because the Belmont's a little bit of on an island because of the mile and a half.
How would she have done that Belmont?
I'm not. I agree with you 100%. I would not be thinking about.
Anyway, that's irrelevant.
Yeah, she's supposed to win today, right?
Well, the thing about it is she beat Clairiere in the Kentucky Oaks, and we'll show you Clairiere's last race in Mother Goose, where, in my opinion, she absolutely ran the best race. And she got a Beyer figure that's comparable to Malathot's figures, and she's improving. The problem is she broke a little slow. And she was in a race that was absolutely dominated by a wildly slow pace on the front end. I don't worry necessarily about her breaking badly. She broke post 4 on the outside today. She's not a horse who's had a habit of breaking badly.
She hasn't had a habit of breaking badly, but she's found trouble at the start, and I do wonder if that's because...
She's not finding a 4-horse field of the outside post.
She's not supposed to. But I do feel like that the trouble she's found at the start And the fact that she did break badly last time, she doesn't get away from there as cleanly as you would like. And it kind of leaves her, but like you said, it's a 4-horse field. She's on the outside. I still don't think you want to give up too much ground.
Well, the other problem that she faces is, A, she may not be the best horse in the race. Well, is that Malathot actually has more speed than her, and she draws the rail. So the horse she has to beat is forward to her. I'll tell you of curiosity about this race. Do you know the link between Malathot and Clairiere?
The link between Malathot
both of their
and
brood
Clairiere.
mares are Stone Street horses, Dreamy and Julia. The year before, cavorting, both great, both Grade 1 winners, because Dreamy and Julia won the Frizette as a 2-year-old, and Clairiere, of course, cavorting won our personal incident, the Ogden Phipps.
You know what a dam of the 3 is a half to?
Yes, Funny Side.
Yep. By the same sire as
He
Funny
didn't
Side.
stand at Stone Street, or he wasn't at Stone Street.
No.
I guess some people think Maracuja. I've seen a lot of 1-2s in this race.
That's me. There's a 1-2 right there.
How's the 2 beating Clairiere?
I would imagine that Maracuja is going to be more forward than Clairiere. And I don't know.
How much more closer?
I don't know. Enough. I don't trust Clairiere 100%. She wins races she's not supposed to win, like the Rachel Alexandra, and then she comes back with a better setup at the Fairground Oaks, and she gets beat. So I don't trust horses like that. I don't disagree with you that she should have won, that she ran the best race last time. I don't disagree with that.
Shall we take a break now and come back and do the pick 6?
I think that probably makes the most sense, sir.
All right.
I like 1-2.
Quick break, Talking Horses, presented by our great friends at Saratoga Water. We'll be back after a quick break.
Make business meetings exquisite. Make a weekend outing exquisite. Make a late night snack exquisite. Make a night on the town exquisite. For nearly 150 years, the Saratoga Spring Water Company has been producing the finest spring water available anywhere. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Oh, man.
We're back, and of course, thanks to everybody at Saratoga Water for their
Saw
incredible
Adam this
support.
morning. Stopped by breakfast.
Nice, nice. He was one of the lucky 17,000. It was like the Charge of the Light Brigade.
A lot of people here today.
Race
Thanks for coming out.
Number 6.
Pick 6 time.
So let's look at a horse who lost to one of the greatest horses in the history of racing in High Oak in his debut. High Oak apparently is a jumper. Because Lee Einstein Lonesome told me he won it's 5.5 despite the fact that he really wants to go really long. And I think maybe he'll have a jump career. I think the key to this race is to get away from this horse. This horse was bet first time out, had everything go his own way, and couldn't win a slow race. And the likelihood that this horse, who was ready first time, is going to beat a field full of first-time starters up in Saratoga seems to me to be some likely
You
chance
completely
approaching
pitched
0.
this horse, huh? Wow.
Oh, I'd book every cent on this horse.
I had the
in
horse
every
I had the
pool,
horse
except
fourth.
the one has the 7th in a septifecta.
I had the horse 4th and scratched into 3rd. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, he has the experience. It would be
Well,
hard.
Mike Maker won 3 races yesterday, so you're going to have every Mike Maker
It would
horse
be-
to play for between now and
Where? Who?
Mike Maker. Fan the fire.
Anyway,
You have to sign up to Louis.
it would be
Kirk,
hard.
Kirk Wyckoff is my partner.
It would
in
be
the
hard.
mini
I'm
golf
trying to see if
challenge.
he'll take it easy on us.
No, believe me, you're just making him want to beat you more.
It'll be hard. It would be hard for Labard to. So I did there.
I think it's very unlikely.
Yeah.
There. Now, apparently, the 2 firsters in here that are working well are Watasha and Irish C. They're the ones who are getting the positive workout reports. I just heard about them this morning. I've got the 7, Watasha, Practical Joke, 3rd. 2 of the 6 foals in the dam were pretty good. And Irish
Natasha's into
Jasper.
mischief.
What race did Irish Jasper win? The dam of Irish C.
I didn't
No,
write that.
I'm sorry. It's into mischief.
Yes,
Excuse
it's
me. I
mischief.
apologize.
I don't remember.
Irish Jasper won the Thoroughbred Club of America.
TCA?
For what trainer?
I don't.
Well, you really
remember.
did your work on this race.
I noticed she was 8 for 16, and she
It's
was
some, some guy whose career is over. Chad Brown.
Oh wow. I don't remember. I didn't
You're
remember
a busy
her
guy.
that well.
You're singing at Nove. I get it.
didn't remember
I
her
get
that
it. You got
well.
it side gigs, your morning, night.
Last 3
whatever.
nights at Nove.
I know, that's good. You should have been spent looking up the pedigrees of these horses.
I know. I didn't write the race down.
Whatever. Okay. Anyway, clearly. Why do you like fluid decision? Fluid situation?
I have no information here because I know that was the next question.
No, I wanted to know why
No,
you like
that was
the
the
horse.
next question. I just like the horse's work tab. I don't have really much to say. Dan was 3 for 14. I like this is a work tab where there's
Who's this horse
there's
have to?
a couple of I don't have a half for this horse that was worth noting anyway.
Okay, Axelrod, who was worth noting, actually ran a 104 Beyer and was a pretty outstanding horse for what it's worth. I like this horse's 2-year-old workout sales video. Horse worked 21, was ridden a bit, but I thought was a pretty nice work. Fluid situation. John Terranova can be live gear. Obviously, though, with Word 7 and 9, those are probably runners in this race. What about the horses coming out of the maiden race at Churchill? I think Bourbon Heist is interesting.
Okay.
The Asmussen horse was the one half of the entry being bet. That horse made a move and flattened out. Bourbon Heist is the one inside. And you've really kind of got Cellino leaning a little bit on Bourbon Heist. And I think it's tough for 2-year-olds, sort of forcing him into the other horse. For Ian Wilkes to have a first-time starter go off at 7-2, they had to have liked this horse because Ian Wilkes is notorious for not winning first time out, usually needing a race. And this horse got bet strongly in the face of an even money Asmussen.
I mean, even his second out number. I mean, he's 2 for 71 the last 2 calendar years. Second time out. I mean, they're just not good.
Right. Over the last 5 years, second time out maidens. Dirt sprints, he is 11 for 96, 11 for 96. 220 something ROI. I'm going to use that horse, the ones that ran. We'll see if the 7 or 9 are the latest. An ode to our good friend Harvey Pack, fastest horses in the world. Race number 7 kicks off the late pick 5. Thought this was a fascinating race. Let's start with Ombre, who apparently is using this race as a prep for
Saranac?
I'm going to speak to Louis. You're going to be barred from Nove when I'm done with you today. Is a prep for the Queen's Plate.
Oh.
This was one of the most
interesting.
ridiculous 5-1 shots of all time, though I have a friend who actually thought this horse had no chance last time, but he shall remain nameless.
That was me.
For what it's worth, if we're going to put in hand-timed races for the inner turf races, can we not put fractions in, please?
You just want a
Because
final time?
the turf course was listed as yielding, and they listed the first quarter as 22. That's an insult to anybody that has ever knows anything about racing. And 23-1, 47-52, 112-98, 143-85 are the Trackus fractions, and they make a little bit more sense. This horse is pretty good. I think Ombre's kind of the horse to beat in here. I took small shots against him, but you're just going to stick to your opinion that he can't run.
I put him 4th. You put him 3rd. I put him 4th. Is there really that much of a difference?
Yeah, there is, because I think he's one of 3 that
You're
can win.
betting him to show?
I think he's one of 3 that can win. I'm going to use 3 in here. What do you like about Space Launch?
I just felt like Space Launch's 2 races last year, he kind of followed them up with the 1 effort this year. Now, I don't like the starts and the stops. And that race last time was dominated by Safe Conduct on the front end. Public Sector came back to win and run well in the stakes. I don't know. I just thought this horse, for connections that are winning an awful lot of races like right now, made some sense to that. And I thought he was okay in his 2 starts last year. I mean, Step Dancer was pretty good in the Awad. He had the 6 months. He came back. Like I said, the starts and stops bother me.
Let's Step Dancer is one of the choices in a New York bred stake on Wednesday and has run okay in his 2 starts. A 3-year-old. I didn't think this horse ran well as a 2-year-old. He got an absolutely perfect trip to beat a okay to mediocre field first time out. He did run okay last time. I'll give him that. I don't love this horse.
You haven't liked this horse because off of the perfect maiden win.
Well, his debut was bad,
Yeah.
and he's never run a particularly good race. And I just think there are better horses here. I get it. He's not impossible. He's not my cup of tea, but I hear you. I thought Mirror Mission, the horse I put second, was kind of the horse to beat. But I want to show the last 3 aces, the Mirror Mission race with Munquad, who finished 5th, beaten 3 lengths. Munquad is the Shadwell Blue Silks, the Silks of Malathot on the outside. This was a race that was completely and totally dominated on the front end. And Munquad was really the only horse that made up any ground, and he did it circling the entire field with far and away the widest trip. And he was running in the stretch. Now, I'm not completely sold on Munquad. I didn't particularly like his prior race. But I thought he ran pretty well because I thought he was the one horse in this race that actually did some running against the flow of the race. And he's going to be a square price in here. I'm going to use 4, 6, 9 in here. I thought they were the right 3.
Okay. The one I would want out of the race is Munquad.
Calibrate, I guess, is a little dangerous. He does feel like he's the speed here, and Steve Axman has sort of given up on the dirt and tries him on the turf. I mean, is Calibrate impossible to wire the field? I don't think there are any killers in this field.
No, I don't either. He's going to have the turf.
You have Shifting Sands second.
Yeah, so Sifting Sands, there were 2 horses being talked about from the Chad Brown barn last year, Public Sector and Sifting Sands. Sifting Sands, Public Sector won. Sifting Sands ran awful in his debut. He came back off the layoff and won with the Lasix at Tampa, and then he came and ran into It's a Gamble and Hard Love without the Lasix. He gets his Lasix back. This is a horse they thought was going to be okay last year. And despite the fact that his career's over, Chad Brown at double digits, and this horse is going to be the 10-1 that he is on the morning line because the money has to get spread.
Well, he didn't do any running in his last race, and he's never run a particularly good race.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping getting the Lasix back. I'm hoping he runs to
But he didn't run that well with the Lasix.
I thought he ran better than he did in his other 2 races.
Marginally.
I'm hoping at a price he wakes up here today.
Okay, I've got him 4th. We'll see how it works out. Competitive race. That was an interesting race. We'll see how things play out. Race number 8, the second division of the maiden race at a mile. Chad Brown has 2 in here. We'll start with split then double. I bet this horse last time. This horse is a hanger. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This horse might win.
It's 2 in a row now.
This horse. I mean, I could make a bit of an excuse for the time before. I can't. This horse had the race won. Come on. And by the way, Star Commander won the race, came back to win, but came back to win an off-the-turf 4-horse field.
Right. What that he dominated on the front end. Yeah, this horse
can win. I'm not wildly against him, but I just, come on, man. And come on. It's like...
Well, you'll give one more? Come on, man.
I'm not wrong.
No,
I think
the last 2 races, like you said, you could make a little...
This horse should have won.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to win. He looks like he doesn't. It looks like she doesn't want to win.
Yeah, and
it just looks like she doesn't want to win.
You've got Rostafar on top. We'll show her last race. Why do you have on her top?
Well, I mean, she had a ton of trouble last time, right off the 4 months. Lost her iron, then she got into the traffic trouble, and now here she's in contention. You think she's going to win, but even here, she's got to go in. Irad looked to go outside, force down inside. It gets tight on him in there a little bit.
I don't know. It was tight. I just think he didn't get
think she wants to go up in there.
Inside.
I just don't think she wants to go up in there.
I agree.
So now you would hope, and one of the things Irad does best is he learns. She was not comfortable down there.
Well, Irad didn't want to go inside. He would have gone outside if he could have. He had no choice.
He had no choice.
This is not an Irad said, I'm going to go inside.
Not at all.
He's got in trouble.
And he found out that she doesn't want to be in there. He'll put that in the back of his mind. And I think you and I saw this race very similarly. I thought it was her your top pick.
Yeah, I don't. I think the inside 3 can win.
But that filly just doesn't want to win, Andy.
She's run 3 times. I don't want to completely convict her. I just prefer others in here because of that situation. Baby Blythe, to me, and I think we're going to show her entire race. It was in December, but Miss Bonnie Tio was second, turned out to be good. This is a number 10 horse, okay? She actually breaks pretty well in here. I mean, first of all, the winner of this race, amortization, was a Chad Brown Euro at even money. So this horse, for a Shug McGay first-time star going long on the turf, this horse got bet to be 5-1 that day. And, I mean, right in here, she sort of runs up on heels of horses. She ends up sort of shuffling back, and it's almost like Joel Rosario was thinking to himself, and look at her here, she's getting rank, and the 4 is backing into her face.
I mean, this is some race.
Well, this is all sort of the lead up to Wildebeest performance of all time. Now, I bet Miss Bonnie T. I had the exacta. She was a big price, Miss Bonnie T. But this horse should have won. I mean, I should have lost because this horse.
She's not done. She's not done studying.
Forget
by the
about
way.
what's going on right now, and also keep in mind, the race is totally developing in front of her. And you're right, she's not done studying.
She's not done.
She's going to get in more trouble here, and the winner is the horse in mid-pack, sort of isolated, and Miss Bonnie T is taking the lead right now. So the race is actually developing well ahead of her, and it's not like other horses got into this race. And wait, it's far from over.
Far from over.
This horse, and I know she's saving ground, and that does matter a bit, but this horse very shortly is about to run like a wildebeest, and she's running so hard that she ends up basically almost getting knocked over, running up on the heels of horses.
She's running sideways.
I mean, look at this horse, and keep watching. I mean, if she was on the outside, able to make a clear run,
wins by 5.
She would have won. I mean, Joelle almost had to pull her up at that point. I know it win by 5, but she wins the race. For what it's worth, 4 to 8 month layoffs, turf routes, and maidens. I mean, it's not a huge sample size, but Shug's got his share of winners, and these are winners that are paying $15. He's not coming back and winning with shorties. I'm not. It's a December race at Aqueduct, and this isn't a bad race. I think Rastafarian's good. I'm not, but Rastafari, excuse me. This horse.
That was
unbelievable. Some video.
I mean,
I had forgotten actually, until I watched it.
It's rare you see a horse find trouble at so many points
like that.
Of a race.
What a race!
5 times.
Midnight Choir's a little interesting. Do you worry that she could wire the field here?
Yeah. Blinkers on, first time Lasix, coming out of a race where Honey Pants is okay. Miss Brazil's turned into a really nice dirt filly, and they're fast horses. She's going to be front. She's fresh. She's going to be in front.
A dirt horse.
Yeah, she's dirt. Yeah, but she ran okay that day. She ran all right on her debut on the turf. But I mean, yes, this filly's supposed to be gone on the lead because, quite frankly, Vintage Style has been in earshot, but
she'll
she's
be in
supposed
front
to be,
unless Luis Ayes could go on a mission inside of her with good talk. Horse coming out of a sprint, so that seems like a possible stretch out. But logically, you would think she would be in front.
Yeah,
but
no question.
Logic and pace scenarios here are on polar ends of the spectrum. Race number 9 came up, quite a race. I had a lot of trouble with race number 9. Let's start with Caravel. This is her win 2 back. She ran in some interesting spots.
Caramel Swirl.
Caramel Swirl. What did I say? Caramel.
You just left it a caramel.
I want a caramel, Anth. Maybe
I'll bring you some caramel. I have sugar-free caramels at home.
The biggest upset of the day has already happened.
This guy don't stop, man.
She's pretty good, and she's a sprinter. She didn't get the best of trips last time, but she was disappointing in the 8 bells. I'm not saying she should have won. She should have run better. I worry a little about her. She's unreliable.
She didn't do a lot of running last time. Yeah. I don't disagree with that. She took a lot of money too. She didn't do any running. Unreliable, I think is the right word. She has the 2 big figs.
Her first 2 races were very, very good. Very good.
But there are
times, Miss Brazil.
There are times where she just seems like she just checks out, and there's just no effort.
I don't trust her.
It's hard, you're not going to let her beat you because there's a lot of talent there, and she's the worst to beat. But she's hard to take at 2 to 1. Right, she'll probably be a tick shorter than 5 to 1.
So talk about Amendment 19 and hold off on the stat.
So Amendment 19 is a little bit of a question mark because she's never run on fast ground. But her 2 wet track races, that means something.
To who?
First,
not to me.
To a lot of people. Not to you. Well, you know what, Andy? The world does not start and stop at your convenience.
That's
Andy.
Actually incorrect.
Okay.
That's your first clearly incorrect statement of the day.
Runs into Always Karina, first time out, who's a very nice filly. Last time did not have the cleanest of trips and just kind of swooped the group. It looked like for a while she wasn't going to get anything, and she just kind of.
I thought speed was also pretty good that day.
Speed was good. That was the off the turf that Sunday. So she's overcome. She ran into a really nice filly, overcame a little bit of a bias and a little bit of a trip last time. She's a question mark first time fast track.
Now we'll show you Linda's stat. Linda's got sensational numbers off of maiden wins and dirt sprints. Take a look at these. No, I'm with you. I totally agree. I think this horse is a major player in here. I'm not sure how good she is, and this is a pretty good field. I struggled an enormous amount with this race because honestly, I think the 2 can win, the 3 can win. I don't even think Glass Ceiling's possible to get a piece. I think the 5 can win. I think the 6 can win. I thought the 7 could win. I think the 8 could win. I think the 9 could win. I literally don't think there's a, Fire
I
Carroll.
had a tough time making Firing Carroll or Mucho Macho Mama.
Why? Mucho Macho Mama's running races that are competitive.
I guess.
I disagree with you. I don't.
She's piling up the seconds though too.
She can win.
You could make a case for her.
She's a player in here.
Even
now,
if
Entreat is a funny horse. The horse I have fourth, you have third. Because she got bet last time like she couldn't lose.
She got smashed at the windows last time.
Unbelievable. And she jumped up at the start and just lost all chance. She's woefully slow on paper, but she was working out like she was a much better horse than her debut win. She could easily improve a bunch of points from that and run a figure in the 80s, which makes her a player. And she got bet, as you say, last time, like they didn't even need her bottom of the race. You
Couldn't
just go
believe
to the window
it.
And cash.
Couldn't believe it. Problem is,
workouts were good, but now she's gonna be a price. You got to use her.
Got to use her today.
Got to use her.
Problem is, she did not engage at all last time.
I get it. And this is a tougher field on paper.
It's a much tougher field on paper.
She
did not engage one bit.
And for a dangerous trainer, and I think that you want to use her as far as Flash Magic. At the end of the day, I just finally got worn out of being wrong about Steve Asmussen horses off blowout maiden wins that seem to come to Saratoga and run better in their subsequent starts. And she ran pretty well last time out. I thought she was the speed in here with Ricardo. It's not as though she didn't have a resume. She just was losing races for Bob Baffert, which people don't expect to happen. But she got to Steve Asmussen, and that situation changed. And
she also lost, by the way, 2 of those 3 races for Baffert, 2 Baffert horses who went on to be graded stakes winners.
One of them was the Great Princess Noor.
Yeah,
the worst short price in the history of the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, but I mean,
you're
still
right.
stakes winners from the same barn.
You make a great point.
Yeah, still stakes winners from the same barn. So, yeah, but
this is a sensational race. There are going to be good horses. There are going to be good horses in this race that are out of the superfecta.
Yep.
This is not. I wouldn't say this is the highest level of the non-winners of one for the Colts last week. But
no, that was a little bit of a stronger race.
This one is more competitive, actually. This one's more competitive. That race was very top-heavy.
Yes, which the first 3 finishes were kind of top-heavy.
This is a and Crowder got scratched.
Yeah,
I thought race number 10, the Caress. Caress is the dam of.
No good.
Louis put his picture up on the front door.
Stop.
Tell him he's not allowed in anymore. He needs to be home doing his homework. She's the dam of Sky Mesa. Come on.
Oh, well, everybody knows that.
Anthony, when you're on top of your game, that stuff flies off your tongue.
The pedigree stuff's not my biggest. I'm better with the history.
I feel like a disappointed parent. I really do.
I don't know why.
It's hard to watch.
Sky, I mean, just explain to me what's a more irrelevant thing than Sky Mesa today?
Anthony, you're a man who's incredibly on top of things in the normal case of events.
Well,
you're having too much fun at Saratoga. You're going to have
too much fun.
Tone
I'm
it
up
down
at 5:30 every day. What kind of fun am I having?
You're probably not going to bed until 5:30.
I am, but not for the reasons you think.
As far as Robin Sparkles, I thought she was very vulnerable if Jakarta was in the race. I'm going to show the beginning, and we'll tell you why, because we didn't edit the video. Because Jakarta was actually in front, and they decided to rate her. Now, they probably weren't wrong to rate her because that was a wicked, legit fast pace on a very sun-baked turf course at Belmont, but nonetheless. I thought with Jakarta in this race, if they were going to run her, and they didn't, the only way she had a chance to beat Robin Sparkles was to be aggressive, at least be aggressive. Now, maybe they've made the prudent choice and said, we can be aggressive, we can't beat her, we won't run her at all. And my partner in the TRF Mini Golf Challenge, Kirk Wyckoff, who won 2 races yesterday. You see, good karma from that thing, from him. And Louis needs some good karma. We'll have to speak to him about that. I thought that was going to make Robin Sparkles a bit vulnerable in here. And I got to tell you something. I love Robin Sparkles, and I know you like her too. I love seeing Bruce Brown with this horse. It's a totally cool horse. I don't see how the pace scenario isn't in her favor, and I was going to try to beat her. But once the scratch came in, I had to switch my picks because my whole premise, and not that Caravel can't win because she's good and she can win, but my whole premise of picking against her was the fact that I thought Jakarta was going to go. With her not in the race, Robin Sparkles has to fall down not to be controlling. She may lose anyway, but I think it makes her job easier, potentially.
No question about it. No question about it. I agree. I see where you're coming from. I just felt like...
Oh, wait. If Jakarta's running for purse money only?
Was she a scratch that was an inadvertent scratch? I did not hear anything about this.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay, my picks in this race are now 1, 2, 4, 5. Jakarta is apparently running for purse money only.
So you're just flipping the top pick.
Well, I changed my picks based on a theory that now, whether right
it's
or
back,
wrong,
it's back in play.
It's back in play. I
Yep.
may end up being completely wrong.
That's cool.
But my picks are now 1, 2, 4, 5, because with Jakarta in here, I believe Robin Sparkles is much more vulnerable.
Okay. And the one time Robin Sparkles did not get the lead in the turf sprint, she lost. And it's the only time she lost. So I think she's going to be in front. I think she'll be in front of her.
It's very important that people understand, and maybe Johnny announced it, I didn't see it in the changes, that she is running for purse money only, Jakarta. So she will be in this race, and she will be running as though they're trying to win.
Of course.
So keep that in mind. Caravel, who's now my top choice. She's purchased for a lot of money by Bobby Flay. Elizabeth Marion's training her. I believe she's going to Graham Motion after this race. I got to tell you something. I thought her last race was huge. She beat a legitimate horse. That Miss Oramet, who's in second,
that filly
good.
wins all over the place. Yeah. This is a huge effort.
Yeah.
And we showed the Sugar Maiden earlier. Her trip in the very one was brutal, and she still got the candy. So, yeah, she's coming off a gutsy effort in the very one, a dominating performance in that race last time out.
Anthony, I have to correct you. It's the very one. And if
you're right.
You know, you're off your game.
I am, because
You're
that's
off
something I stress on radio. You make a great point. I'm off my game.
The horse's name was the very one, if
right.
you don't know.
So it's
the
very one.
And it is. I mean, it legitimately
is the very one.
The very
in the
one.
racing form, it says the very one.
Yeah.
Yep, no question about it.
I think Richie may have ridden. He might have ridden the very one at one time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Steve DeMoro, right? I think, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the two.
We got all kinds of useless information on this show.
They're the two.
One of us has more.
I just want to move the chains. And
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know if she's good enough, but I think In Good Spirits is moving forward. And I think she's going to run well in this race. I thought her race 2 back was actually pretty good, and I think she's on the cusp if she can take a step forward. Are you so convinced that Flower Point's impossible? We'll show her last race. And, see, I think that horses like this are better going shorter.
Right, because they're going to get more pace.
This is obviously a much tougher field. And this race did fall apart. She had the run of the race in here. I'm not going to deny it. But she's not bad. She's okay, and I think she gets a chance to take us. I think the 1 and 2 are very much the right 2 horses, but I'm not completely dismissing the 4 and 5.
You say this to me often. They got to get through the other 3 fillies that you're wagering on in here now. They got to get through both Caravel and Robin Sparkles, and to me, especially when you have one that's going to be on the front end and one that's going to be coming from off the pace, they kind of have to. They're not an entry, obviously, but if you're looking at it from just getting to the pick 4, one of those two is supposed to win.
I get it. I'm going to lean very heavily on the 1 and 2 in here, but why you play backup tickets?
Yeah.
And I could have these horses on a C ticket if I'm smart in the other races. It's an interesting sequence, and it's hard because
it's asking a lot for you to get smart in the other races, isn't it?
You ain't lying. The last race is a funny race. And we'll take a look at My Lips Are Sealed's last race running 3rd. Because on paper, My Lips Are Sealed is an absolute, complete, and total lock.
Lead pipe cinch, right?
Lock.
On paper, I mean, how's she supposed to get beat?
Spongy, Runaway Rumor came back to win a stake in her next start and ran respectably in a very tough Lake George yesterday.
She get 4th money yesterday?
Spongy came back to win. Yeah, Spongy came back to win by 436 lengths in her next start. And she is the speed of the speed. I would go, but they could possibly rate her. I would go. I don't know why you take away her talent. I mean, on paper, this horse, and races aren't run on paper, but I love to pick against horses like this, but Mike, I took Just Okay is not okay. I don't think it's that good, but she could maybe improve for Todd, and I always want to use a little bit of Kara's Dreamer. But I don't know.
I took Electric Youth second. She blew the brake first time out on the turf. I don't know.
Close by 10 lengths.
You worry about that? Yeah.
You know, there's the race. That's the race that Spongy ran.
Yeah.
It's right there with the 5 Electric Youth. I mean, I don't want to sit up here and sing the exploits of giant favorites in these races, but if she runs a race, they can't beat her.
And the truth of the matter is, Andy, there's really not a lot to say about the rest of these horses. They've had
relative
a lot
to her. Right. I mean, it's like she sticks out like a sore thumb. I mean, there's a big field, and, turf racing
Rare
is
to
not
see
usually
that with a
conducive.
12-horse field, but she sticks out
on paper,
in here.
she sticks out. I mean, they don't have to win.
I don't disagree.
But it is the graveyard of bad handicappers, so there you have it.
See you tomorrow.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh, boy.
Do you think over time that more top horses have won or lost at short prices in big races up here
One.
than other racetracks? I know.
You don't?
No, I do. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean.
Right. As
But I
the
think
late, great Harvey Pack said, it's not the graveyard of favorites, it's the graveyard of bad handicappers.
Lust Garden's almost wrapped up, but you could still sneak over there. You got 5 more minutes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Head over to Naira Bets.
I don't sneak anywhere, but you can sneak.
No, he was not sneaking on that mini golf course, I got to tell you. He was
Knife to a gunfight, my man.
He was slogging through the water, but he won in 11 hole. It was a short contest, but he did beat me by a stroke despite my hole-in-one. Use SPA200 as the promo code. Sign up for Naira Bets. We'll match to $200. Your initial deposit. Play through Naira Bets. Keep the money in the game. $50 to win in the Coaching Club American Oaks. Opt in. You get $20 towards your Travers bankroll. Also, Lust Garden, honoring the late Dominic Galuccio. Lust Garden benefiting pancreatic cancer. You still have a few minutes. Head on over to the Jockey Silks porch and get some autographs to trainers, but more importantly, give some money to Lust Garden.
Saratoga Live.
Finally, Saratoga Live, FS2, 1 to 7 today on FS2. Anthony,
yes, sir.
Pleasure was all yours. Any parting words for the fans?
Come on out to breakfast tomorrow. Wrap up week number 2 with us.
What a
Have
way
a
to
good
end
time.
your weekend
What a
in
way
the
to end
morning
it.
with the big A, Anthony Stabile. I
Yes,
can't
sir.
think of a better way. Have a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day. Enjoy the day at Saratoga. The man, the voice of New York racing, John Imbrial, up next, the reprise of the scratches and changes.